The issue is you don't know how to adjust your skates. So you're constantly feeling like your skates aren't working well for you. They don't fit right. They don't feel right. And you feel like throwing your skates in the trash and starting all over. Stop. You don't need to do that. A few adjustments here and there can really change the performance of your skates and the longevity of how you use your roller skates. You feel uncomfortable with your skates because you don't know the different parts of your skates, what they do, what they're meant for, and how to adjust them. Pro roller skaters know how and why their skates are underperforming or overperforming and how to adjust them so that they can get the best use out of them. In this video, you're going to learn what each of the parts mean on your roller skate, and you're going to learn how to adjust them on your own. So you don't ever have to feel uncomfortable, weird, or feel like you just wasted a whole bunch of money on roller skates that you can't get back. What isn't working right now is you're not adjusting your skates. So your skates feel stiff and uncomfortable. They feel like they're not working right on your feet, and you don't really know why. Well, I'm here to tell you why. You need to adjust your skates. Everything on your skates is adjustable, from the laces down to the bearings, from the insoles down to your plates. You can adjust literally everything on your skate to make it work for you and your roller skating needs. We're going to go over each part of the roller skate boot, what it does, and how to adjust it. Now, these are my everyday wear and tear roller skates. I have the Riedell 297s with the shearling fur tip. These are a slightly taller neck than the regular Riedells, and they are also a narrow foot box for folks with skinnier but longer feet. These skates don't have that much structure around the ankle, but they are really tough skates. I've been wearing them for 2 years now, and they have not lost their stiffness around the boot. They are still very stiff and have a lot of life left in them. Can you hear that? That's a stiff boot right there. Different people use different laces. And one thing I'll say about lacing up in general, which I have not played around with, you can lace up your boots tighter or looser depending on how much movement and flexibility. Sometimes you may feel like your boots are suffocating your feet, and it's because you have not unlaced them in a while. So honestly, try unlacing your boots as much as you can, readjust, and then lace them back up. You'll find that you have more room and more ability to move about. With the boots, you can make some adjustments to your soles. I know folks who add heels into their soles to give them a little bit more lift, but what I like to use are my own insoles. These are Dr. Scholl's insoles, and they're adjustable, so you cut them down to your foot size. I even feel like I could get a much higher, sturdier insole, but this is a good one to go with for beginner. It gives you a lot of cushion, and it gives you a lot more stability with the arch of your foot. Especially for folks who are a little flat-footed, it's something you might need. Riedell boots already have a pretty high heel, but again, if you want a little more height, you can always add in a heel insert to your boot along with your insole. The boot shape is also very important. As you can see, my boot is a lot narrower. It's nicer for people with skinnier, longer feet, not as wide. Sometimes you may want a wider boot. That's just up to preference and how you want your shoes to fit. Also, you may want a flexible boot. You may want a boot like mine that is malleable, still stiff, but very flexible. You may want a really flexible boot. You may want a stiff boot neck that does not move at all. I would really think about that before you purchase your skates, but just know that the more you wear them, the more they'll loosen up. So something to consider. Moving on to the plates. I have here the Reactor Pro plates. These are in a chrome colorway that looks slightly blue. They no longer make them like this anymore. Now they come in a matte color. These are a heavier plate for sure. They have a lot more stability and can be used outdoors as well. Now, with these plates, they did come with their own toe stop. I have since swapped out the toe stop for jam plugs because I don't necessarily need a toe stop. A jam plug works just as well for me. And with jam plugs, I can do a lot more fun tricks as a jam skater and on and off the rink. As you can see, it's a little worn out because I do use them to stop and I use them for floor work. But these are so easy to swap in and out. You'll probably replace these a lot during your roller skating journey. Now the plate also has two kingpins, which holds two pairs of wheels. The kingpin is where you'll find the cushions. Now you can swap cushions out for something that's a little softer or harder depending on what you like. Cushions do wear with regular wear and tear. So after a certain amount of years, you may want to swap them out, buy new ones that can provide a little more stability. These are like what you would consider shock absorbers. Like if you roll over hard things, this will absorb that. Softer or harder cushions, you'll feel things more, you'll feel the items that you roll over more or less. When you loosen up the bolt on the kingpin, it gives you a lot more edging ability. So loosening up your kingpin will allow your wheels to tilt to one side or the other a lot more easily. And if you're somebody who is working on edging or working on skating on your edges, whether it's one inner edge or the outer edge, you want to loosen this up a quarter at a time to give yourself some flexibility with edging. You can also replace the kingpin, get a taller kingpin or a shorter kingpin. I prefer what my plates already have. I'm not trying to change it out, but I may want to get some new cushions in the future to help with the edge work, etc. Now moving on to the wheels. Your wheels are very important. If you watch my wheels video, then you know there are a plethora of different wheels that you can choose from. I have on these skates my indoor wheels. These are Sure Grip velvet wheels. They do not have a durometer because they are made of a certain material, which the name I cannot pronounce, but it's right here on the screen. And they're harder wheels to be able to slide and glide a little more easily on the rink. These wheels in particular have a bit of grip, which I like because it provides me with more control. And it may be something that you want when starting off at the rink so you don't feel too out of control with really slippery wheels. These are my go-to indoor rink wheels. And I use my go-to bearings as well. These bearings I love so much. They are the Bones Reds bearings. They have the red cover on them. These are the smoothest bearings I have ever used, and I've used a lot of different types of bearings. And I've used these bearings for like 3 years now. One way that you can tell that these bearings are good is the amount of rotation when you spin your wheel. Some wheels won't spin for that long, and that's because the bearings are not as smooth. But with Reds, you will always get a really smooth, long spin, and that will help you go faster around the rink. Did you see how long that span for? When you're on the rink, that's the type of consistency you want in your bearings because it'll make sure that you keep going around the rink, even if you're not even pushing. You're just going around the rink with ease. I love that about these bearings. They could literally go on forever. I love that. That's how you know that you have really good bearings on your wheels. Now, I do want to show you how easy it could be to adjust your skates and just get a little more out of them when you're on the rink or skating outdoors. I'm using a T-tool. This you can buy off of Amazon. I'll have the link down below in the description. But this is a universal tool that works on most skates. However, these plates, I have to use a different tool for the kingpin to loosen and tighten the kingpin. And that comes when you purchase your plates. They'll give you all the tools you need to adjust it, so you don't need to buy. But for the most part, this T tool or a Y tool works for every single skate. For most skates, most skates. Now, sometimes if your wheel isn't turning fast enough, or you feel a little stuck like you're skating through sand or mud, it may be because your wheels are too tight. As you can see, I'm trying to roll this wheel and it isn't going. However, my other wheels spin just fine. That is because your wheels are put on a little too tight. So all you need to do is loosen them by turning them a quarter turn at a time and checking them. Still a little too tight. That's a lot better. Maybe we should loosen a little more. Even better. But one thing is something that you should also check is wiggling your skates from side to side. If you have any sort of space, you can literally hear the skate move. That means you loosen them up a little too much. So go back and tighten them just a hair until you stop hearing that jiggle. Okay, I don't hear any more jiggling, which is good, but I can still spin my wheel. That's exactly how you want to have your wheels. You want to have them loose enough that they can spin really easily, but you want to have them tight enough so that you don't hear any wiggling when you move them side to side. They should be firm. As you can see, this wheel over here is a little too loose. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that. Just a slight little turn until I hear there's no more movement. And then I check and it can still spin. That is a perfect place to have your wheels. Now, sometimes you feel like you can't turn easily, and that may be because your kingpin is too tight. In order to loosen up your kingpin, you can use a Y tool, a T tool, or maybe even a wrench that your plate kit provides. And you want to turn righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but you only want to turn a click at a time and then check and see how it is. You see, I just turned it one click and it already is moving way more than it did before. And that's sometimes all you need. You don't want to keep on cranking and going more and more, turning it looser and looser, because the kingpin is very sensitive and the weight on your kingpin is very sensitive. So if you loosen it up too much, you may find that you're slipping to one side way too quickly or turning to one side way too quickly. That's not good. You want to have your skate be tight enough that whichever way you lean towards doesn't take off completely, but you want to have it loose enough so that when you do apply a little bit of weight, you can turn with ease. Ideally, what you do in the front, you want to do in the back. However, these skates have already been adjusted for me, so I'm not going to do too much. That's already too much. I'm going to go back a little. And you can literally hear the clicks. Like, it already tells you how much you need to go. You don't need to go any more than that. That's a little too much, so I'm going to go back one. Perfect. And that's how you adjust your skates. These small adjustments to your skates can make a huge difference to your roller skating performance and your roller skating process. But it all depends on your needs. If you're working on edges or if you're trying to go faster, adjusting the wheels and the kingpin may be something that you want to do. Or if you're just trying to skate outside and you need stability, adding some few insoles or heels can help with your skate performance and support around your feet. Think of your boot as a cooking recipe. A little few adjustments here and there can turn a bland dish into something amazing. And that's the same thing that goes for your boot. Tweaking a few things here and there can turn an ordinary, boring kit boot into the best pair of roller skates you've ever had. And frankly, by trying out these adjustments, it'll help you understand your boots a lot more and help you understand what you need to become a pro roller skater. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you learned a lot about adjusting your boots. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I would be happy to answer them. And let me know how it goes adjusting your boots. I know it may feel a little intimidating, but just try small tweaks at a time and see how you feel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to share it with a friend who needs it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.